We're gonna try to finish the book today. I just want a cozy day at home. There's something about being a wildflower in the desert. Some years won't be your year. This is my new fridge.
In case anyone was wondering about my family history, you're getting a family history lesson here, but then I'm not getting up from this desk until I finish this book. I have finished the book.
Hello and welcome to a new vlog. Welcome if you're new here. Hi, I'm Andrea. I'm a full-time university writing instructor and a part-time content creator and indie author. Welcome back if you're one of my lovely returning friends. It is great to have you all here. Welcome to Saturday. Y'all, I need it to be the weekend now. I feel like we have just had one too many Andrea is stressed out vlogs in the last few weeks. So we're going to try to calm things down and we're going to try to finish the book today. So that will probably be the title of this video. Apologies for the weird lighting. There's not a single good place to park. And if I'd parked in the other direction, then it would be direct sunlight on my face. So it's morning. It is just a little bit past 8 a.m. on Saturday. We are at the park to go hiking. Rookie error. I should have been out here earlier. I knew better, and I still let myself go slow. I needed to go slow this morning, so it's probably not a bad thing, but it is already pretty busy here, and I don't want to be around people today. So we'll see how this goes. You can see there's people walking behind me. Everyone's getting ready for their hike, and I'm out at a different park today. The main park where I go, there are trails that I can do where I am less likely to see people. Out at this park, there's really one main trail that starts your hike, and it does split pretty quickly, but an equal amount go in both directions. And at this time, no matter what direction I do, there's going to be people I'm passing who are starting their hike and people passing me who are starting their hike, but there are also going to be people finishing their hike, the people who started an hour ago at sunrise, like I should have. And I'm a little concerned. The parking lot's not terrible, but I'm a little concerned there's going to be more people out here than usual on a Saturday, because this is the park that's further away from all the Phoenix Open golf tournament chaos. It's just chaos in my part of town right now. I'm ready for it to be done. It's not helping. The weather is cooling down, but then it's looking like it's going to warm back up. So this might be, we're still in an early spring moment at the moment, today and tomorrow. And then I think starting Monday, it goes back to something a little bit more like winter for us. But then I think by next Saturday, early spring starts arriving again. And that's the problem with February. It's up and down, up and down. It's not yet looking like it's going to get back up into the 80s like it did this past week. I wore a sundress to campus to teach in on Tuesday because it was 84 degrees Fahrenheit. Not happy about that. Anyway, I'm not going to ramble and rant about the weather. I'm going to go hiking and I'm going to take you all with me. And then later today, I just want a cozy day at home. I want a cozy day. I want no stress. I don't want to think about anything. Oh, I got a new refrigerator. So that's been resolved. I will show you that when we get home. But the refrigerator situation has been fixed. I feel like I left the last vlog. I still haven't edited it yet, but I feel like I left the last vlog on this really heightened, anxious note. I will try to put a note when I edit that video to let you all know. So hopefully you all saw that I did get a fridge replaced the very next day. So I won't go into too much detail, but yeah, Thursday night, it started leaking again as I was finishing up the vlog. Completely panicked. It soaked an entire hand towel within 30 minutes, but then it stopped leaking and the towels I put down overnight were still dry the next morning. But I went straight into the office first thing Friday after my hike yesterday and ready to I'm not leaving until you give me a delivery date. And instead the manager came out. We've got a date. It's coming today. We're not sure when, but as soon as it does, we'll call you. Anyway, like within an hour of leaving the office, I was like, okay, cool, great. I'm going to go back to my place. I'm going to clear a path for them so they can get in. I'm taking my food over to my parents' house to put it in their fridge. Like, as soon as it comes, just let me know. Like, absolutely, we'll call you and we'll figure out, when to deliver it. An hour later, I have a knock on my door and they're literally on the landing with the refrigerator. Do you guys not talk to each other? No one talks to each other. This has been the problem the entire week. No, they weren't talking to each other, and then no one was talking to me, and I had no idea what was going on, and I was panicking for semi-good reason. So yeah, the fridge got delivered. I frantically threw the rest of I was half emptying the fridge. Like, the fridge was half empty. So I told them, just give me 2 more minutes. I threw the rest of it into bags with ice packs on top and moved everything out of their way, and then just stayed while they switched. Just, I wanted to see what the floor and like the back wall looked like, to see if there was, I didn't want them putting a new fridge over something that was actually damaged and needed to be fixed. But I talked to the maintenance guy. He thought it looked fine, that it just needed to dry out. I kind of agreed. So they put it in, and I'll show you when I get home. It's big, which I like. I like having a bigger fridge. It's going to be great, but it looks a bit silly in my tiny in my tiny kitchen. Like, it sticks out like that much from the counter. So yeah, but and the door opens in the other direction, and it's not worth complaining about, like, trying to, I don't even know if they could get me a smaller fridge. And I know they can switch the direction that the door opens, but like, at this point, I'm done. I don't want any more people in my apartment. I want this all to be over. So I'm just going to live with it for a while. And if I can't adjust to the door opening in the other direction, then I can do something. But it might actually work out, especially during the summer, because it will have a more direct line from, like, the AC vent will blow directly into the fridge when the door is open and I'm getting stuff out. So it might actually work in my favor. So we will see. But a new fridge has been installed. The fridge drama, I think, fingers crossed, is done. So I feel like that was one of the biggest stressors this week. So today I am ready to just chill out, relax, go for a hike, do some reading, have some cozy time at home, and hopefully finish the first draft of Independent Hearts 4 and be done with that. And if I can finish that early enough in the afternoon, we might also do some cover sketching, because I'm really behind on that. So yeah, cozy day, working on book stuff at home, and that is what the rest of this vlog will be about after we go for a hike. Okay, hike is done. That was fantastic. It definitely feels like spring out there, and the only things blooming are the flowers, the bushes right by the visitor center. There's a couple creosote bushes that are blooming, and there's a couple, I think they're called yellow barrel bushes, that are blooming. And that's it. Nothing out in the park itself is blooming. It is all still just so dry and so dormant, and it's really sad. I just feel like this is going to be a year with no wildflowers, and that just feels like a metaphor for life right now. But I was thinking, the lesson to take from the desert, we often talk about being more like a cactus, right? Being really sturdy and hardy and able to stand up to harsh conditions, and they're so resilient and stuff like that, which is true. But there's something about being a wildflower in the desert. Some years won't be your year. Other years and other times you can have 2 or 3 or more years in a row where conditions throughout the winter are optimal and you have a fantastic bloom and everything is great. It feels like life is fantastic. And then other years, the conditions aren't so great and you struggle a little bit. But then there's always the chance that the next year will be your year to bloom again. And I don't know. Life lessons with Andrea while hiking. I just feel like hiking, I've been hiking for years and years and years. I started hiking in my late teens, early 20s, like 18, 19 years old, I think, maybe 20. So I've been hiking for years. But as I'm getting older, like I think from my mid 30s now into my 40s, especially these last few years that I've started hiking again after I stopped hiking after my fibromyalgia diagnosis. These last few years, I feel like, have taught me so much about myself and about life through things I notice while I'm hiking, through the way the desert goes through these cycles each year, like from one month to the next, but also from one year to the next, how we can have a few years where we get enough rain and we have beautiful blooms of wildflowers and desert plant life in the spring, and then other years where we don't get as much rain, but things look dead out here, but most of them are not. Most of them are just in this dormant stage, just waiting for the conditions to circle back around to being optimal again. And also things like when you're hiking, the lesson of keeping your eye on the trail, not getting too distracted by looking behind you at where you've come, and not tripping over your feet because you're so focused looking way far ahead on the trail that you're not looking at the rock that's about to trip you right in front of you, or the rattlesnake that's crossing the trail in front of you. Like, hiking is definitely a lesson in staying in the present moment, focusing on that. And if you're going to look ahead or look behind, as in life, you stop on the trail, you get your balance, and then you look around you. In life, if you're looking to the future, you need to stop and be intentional and plan that. And if you're reminiscing and remembering things from the past, you need to stop and be intentional and not get so stuck in the past or so focused on the future that you're not enjoying the present moment. And so today, in the present moment, the sun was lovely. It was it was warming you just enough that you didn't feel cold, but there was enough of a breeze that you didn't feel warm or hot from the sun, which is perfect. That's as warm as I ever wanted it to be. And today was a day where I felt like I could enjoy the sun. So yeah. Anyway, enough life chat, car chat, hiking lessons, life lessons with Andrea in the car. I need to get on with my day. I need to run an errand. I am out of milk. I didn't bring all of my groceries back with me from my parents' house, so I didn't bring the unopened carton of milk, and the open carton of milk has actually gone bad. So I need to get some milk, but I'm to make coffee later this week, more so for Tuesday for teaching, but I'm probably going to be a bit lazy and get a coffee at the grocery store and not then go home and make my own coffee. So I also want to look for some flowers. I didn't buy flowers at Whole Foods this week because they didn't have any tulips. I really felt like tulips, but now that the tulips that I've had to throw out, now I'm missing flowers in my home and I just want some flowers. So that's what I'm going to do. Then it's time to go home, get myself cleaned up, maybe do some vlog editing while I relax for just a little bit after my hike, and then we will get to writing.
Okay, it is now considerably later in the afternoon. I need to sit down and do some writing. Before I do, I think it's time that we close out the chapter and the drama of the refrigerator and I show you the new fridge. This is my new fridge, which doesn't look too bad from this angle, but it is huge. It is definitely bigger than the old one, and you can see it a little bit more if I come over here. You can see how far out from the edge of the counter it is. The old fridge was right flush with the counter, so it's about 6 inches deeper, and it's at least, I feel like the old fridge came up to about here. Like, I was taller than the old fridge, and this fridge is pretty much as tall as I am, basically. So yeah, it's taller, it's wider. I don't have as much space between here as I did before, so the step ladder that I use to change my air conditioning filters and to test the smoke detector, that is no longer going to fit back there, so I need to find somewhere to put that. And then inside, I've got freezer up there. It does have an ice machine, but it's not filtered, so it's disconnected, or it's connected but it's turned off. There's no water going to it. And then the fridge still has 3 shelves and 2 drawers, but I feel like I have more shelf or better configuration. I think before I just had 2 shelves and then a butter and an egg thing. So I've got more space on the door, and the shelves are wider on the door. And it opens, as you saw, it opens from here going outwards instead of from here going this way. There's more space on the front for magnets. So yay. Need to go back to England and buy more magnets. I haven't put all the magnets back up, but I've put up a lot of my favorite ones. And then this little cart that desperately needs to be cleaned and reorganized. Especially with the way the door opens, I feel like it does make this end of the kitchen now just feel a bit tight, but I don't know what else to do. I'm just gonna have to live with it. So the floor needs a good clean, but we're done. It's over. We are drawing a line under that and we are moving on. I am in my writing shirt, which literally says, this is my writing shirt. This was a gift from my aunt for Christmas. So I am in my writing shirt and I need to get myself set up and in better lighting so that you can actually see me. And we need to write. We need to finish this book. We need to just get it done. We need to draw a line under that as well. I am so ready to be done. I need to get my power strip turned on. I need my writing candle, my project candle. Definitely have a good amount of this candle left. Like, it is not even half burned. So I will definitely be able to use this throughout most, if not all, of the editing process as well. Planner and my notebook, I'm gonna move off to the side. Put my little TV tray next to the window, next to my desk, just to have like space to put stuff. It's probably not ideal, but I can't, like, I'm not gonna get distracted. We need to finish this book, so I'm not gonna get distracted cleaning my office. My office is a disaster. My office needs so much work. It needs to be cleaned so badly. I've got stuff that needs to be thrown out, stuff that needs to be sorted and organized, Christmas decorations still that need to be put away up in my laundry room. It's chaos, and it is not helping the state of my mind. So I do need to do that, but not today. Not today. Today we write. that is what we're doing. So I'm getting my keyboard and my mouse out. I've got my external monitor turned on. I'm gonna get that connected to my laptop. It is now 3 o'clock. It's 3:07. I am so behind schedule for today. So behind schedule. This is not how I wanted this to go. I wanted to be a lot more on top of things today, but this is how the cookie crumbled today. It is what it is. So yeah, I have been editing. I've been vlog editing, so that I really wanted to get the majority of Monday's vlog edited. It needs music still, so the intro needs to be done. So there's still stuff to do, but the bulk of the editing is done. The hardest and most time-consuming part is done. So yay me, I was productive. Where are we at? We are at the epilogue. We are at the epilogue, you all. But we still have the entire epilogue to write. So I have 227 words written so far in the epilogue. That's my outline. So I'm going to write over those 227 words, but I'm aiming for between 1,500 and 2,000 words. And I want to try to do all of that today. I just want to finish this. I want to finish this so that tomorrow I can compile it into an EPUB document and send it to my alpha readers. So I have 2 friends and then my mom who always read the really horrible, really messy first drafts. And then they also are my beta readers and read the more polished, not quite finished, but almost finished later stage draft. And then they can see like what's changed and what hasn't, and they can then let me know like what's working and what's still working and what's still not working and blah, blah, blah. So I do want to send that to them because I'd like to give them the next 2 weeks while I'm not working on this. They can be reading it, and then hopefully 2 weeks is enough time that when I am ready to start editing it, and when I've done my Kindle read through and I've done my revision, I've started doing my revision plan. Like ideally, I'd like to be getting feedback from them while I'm doing my Kindle read through and making my notes, and then I can take my notes and their notes and put all of that together into my revision plan. I know I was keeping track of the timeline and like what day within the plot we were at. Like 2 days later would make it now this date of this month, and 1 week later would make it now this date, because there's key dates, and like summer solstice is in this book. So like if I've said in one chapter summer solstice was a week away, and then in the next chapter I say 2 weeks later, but summer solstice still hasn't happened, like that's something I need to fix. I was keeping track of that up until chapter 10. Chapter 10 is where I stopped. So the first half of the book, I have been mindful of the timeline. The second half, who knows? It ends somewhere in August, I think. But with all the next day, 1 week later, 2 days later, it could actually be ending in October for all I know. So that's something I'm going to have to look out for when I'm editing. But that's not what we're worried about for the epilogue. For the epilogue, I have what looks like 2 scenes that I need to write. So I'm hoping I can do this in about 1,500 to 2,000 words. It can be longer in the final draft, but at this point I'm not going for the bare minimum, but I'm just going for just above the bare minimum. Basically, I'm just trying to get that raw material that I can then work with and just get the general idea of what I want these scenes to be out onto the page, and then in editing I can make them better. So that's where we're at. I've got nice cozy piano music playing with a beautiful book / character relevant background on YouTube. I've got Scrivener full screen on my external monitor. I've got my Target box open. Not that I'm going to need it, because I'm going to go past my session target, but I'm not going to reach. Maybe I should switch my goal. I'm going to switch everything so that my manuscript target is something I will hit today, because it's going to feel anticlimactic if I get to the end and Scrivener's telling me, you're not at 100,000, so you're not finished. I can bump it up to 100,000 for editing, so that I know that I'm staying within that. So I'm gonna edit my target box in Scrivener. I'm gonna light the candle, and we are gonna get this book done. Okay, it's 4:27. I'm getting distracted, but the first scene is done. I have 1,451 words in the epilogue. 1,224 of those is like actual words. So I have set my goal for the manuscript for 92,500. I'm nearly there. I'm at 92,309. So it's probably going to end up being closer to 93,000, but I set it to 92.5 just in case I only wrote like 1,500 words in the epilogue, but I think it's going to be a little bit longer. That being said, I'm going to try to make this last scene a little bit shorter than the first scene was, but it's coming along. I'm getting distracted because I'm making notes of things. I'm like, double check what you said back in a previous chapter and double check what you said in a previous book and nail down this history of the main character. Yeah, there's lots of little details I need to tie up. There's a lot of like pre-existing history for the main character and her family that I need to kind of get all written out just so that I have that correct, and then I can correct any inconsistencies in the manuscript. So like, rather than trying to remember what I've previously said throughout each chapter as I've been writing it, I've just been writing stuff, and I need to like double check everything and make sure I'm correct. I'm definitely taking longer than I would like, but I have to finish this today. I do not want to work on this tomorrow. Like, I could finish this tomorrow. There'd be nothing wrong with that. But I just really want to finish it today. And I feel like I'm so close. It probably is going to end up being closer to 2,000 words that I have to write today. Maybe even a little more if this next scene is as long as the first scene was. It's Saturday. I don't have to work tomorrow. If I eat dinner a little bit late, I might go grab myself a snack so I'm not starving. But if I eat dinner at like 5:30 or 6, that would not be a problem. I'm definitely like I've dug out some of my like research books on Mineral Point, which is one of the like source inspirations for the town where this novel is set, and I've been looking through some of the pictures of the old buildings in Mineral Point, and I need to read through some of the history. I've also been tracking down, like, had a question of like, when did Norwegian immigrants start arriving in Wisconsin, because that's kind of relevant to this story, and like that family history. Because in book 2, and this is a hint, if you remember from book 2 and you remember this conversation, you might then guess who this book is about. In book 2, it's mentioned that this character's family has been in Wisconsin since the 1820s, since her ancestors immigrated there from Norway in the 1820s. Turns out Norwegians didn't actually start immigrating or migrating to Wisconsin until the 1830s. We'll just say it was in 1829. Close enough. So I can make it work, but I was starting to like get distracted and obsess over that just a little bit, like, oh, just tell me that I'm remembering it correctly, because I thought that's what I had remembered writing, and I was right. But then I had the thought of, oh, but like, is that actually when Norwegians started immigrating? Because I was using it based on my own family history, but the 1820s date was in reference to not my Norwegian ancestors, but my Scottish ancestors, and when they arrived in Wisconsin. So yeah, I'm like, don't tell me you've just screwed yourself up, because like, if some of my Norwegian ancestors didn't immigrate, like some of my Norwegian ancestors didn't immigrate to Wisconsin until the 1860s and 70s, because I have a couple family members now who are doing that genealogical research, and they've traced our family back. And so I know, going down both my great-grandfather's line and my great-grandmother's line of ancestors, that there are Norwegian family members who came over in like the 1860s, 1870s. So Norwegians in general started immigrating to the US, and Wisconsin in particular, in the 1830s. But I think there was a really big influx in the 1860s, 1870s. So yeah, these books have a lot of the Easter eggs in here you won't know, because they're my own personal family history. In all three books, there's previous books and now the fourth book. In each of these characters, including the fifth character, who will be the next book, there's different elements of me, my family history, stories that have been passed down. There's a lot of elements of Mineral Point, which is the town that this is based on. But then there's little things that are also like similar to Bisbee, Arizona, or Jerome, Arizona, or so it's Olsenburg, the fictional town, is a mix of a bunch of different things, different places, different businesses, but ultimately it all kind of comes back to me and my family, which is, I don't know, like Across the Pond, that series is my big love letter to London, and it's my obsession and love affair with London, and all the different little things about London that I love, all my favorite neighborhoods, all my favorite businesses, all my favorite historical areas, they all make their way into the Across the Pond series. So Across the Pond is like me right now, me as an adult, my life, the things I love about London, the way that I love London. Like, that's what that series, that's the itch that series scratches for me in my brain. The Independent Heart series is my love letter to my family and the family history and the immigrant history and the connection we have to the US, but then the connection we have to other places and other countries where my family has come from. On both sides of my family, both my mom's side and my dad's side, in some cases I'm like several generations go back in the US. I know apparently I have an ancestor who was in this country at the time of the American Revolution and fought for the colonies in the Revolutionary War. So I know I go back, my family, some branch of my family goes back to like the 1760s, 1770s in the US. But then like on my mom's side, her dad, it was his parents that came over from Italy. So my grandfather and my mom were born in the US, but my great-grandparents were born in Italy. So like on my mom's side, I'm only like the third generation born and I wasn't even born in the US. But third generation born as an American to American parents. I was born in Germany. So, but then that also impacts like just my thoughts on all of this. And so anyway, long story short, like on my dad's side, there are the family farm that his grandmother was raised on, that her father owned and ran. My great Grandpa Gordon. The history with that farm goes back to the 1820s. My, I don't know how many times great-grandfather, like, she's 2, 3, 4, she's like 5 or 6 times great-grandfather, went from Scotland to Canada by 1806. He was in Canada. And then by 1820s, his son was in Wisconsin. In case anyone was wondering about my family history, you're getting a family history lesson here. So like all of this family history, I've just always found it so fascinating. And I just love being able to put some of it into my novels. And I just, yeah. It's one of the things I've always loved about Mineral Point as a town. It has such a strong history of Norwegian immigrants who became farmers here and Cornish immigrants who came to Wisconsin to work in the mines. They brought not only their mining skills, but their masonry skills. And so a lot of the buildings look, I've shown pictures of Mineral Point to friends in England and they're like, oh my God, that looks like a village in England. I really want to go to Cornwall one day. I really, really do, because I just want to see like what Cornwall looks like in comparison to Mineral Point, and just partly because like I'm curious about the similarities, but also I'm like, for all those people who left Cornwall and left England and went across an ocean and arrived in Wisconsin, was any part of it familiar? Did any part of it remind them at least a little bit of home? Because obviously when you're talking about the 1820s, 1830s, 1840s, 50s, 60s, whatever, like once they left, they never went back. And I have the same feeling about like my Russian and Romanian family, like, and my Italian family, like my great grandparents who left Rome and moved to America. Like, I don't think they ever went back. My grandfather went. So like my grandfather was able to go back to Italy and meet the family that was still there and see where his parents grew up and stuff like that. But like, I don't think my great grandparents ever went back. And I talk about wanting to move to England one day or move overseas to Europe in general. And like, it's just a completely different thing now. If I ever immigrated somewhere to Europe, to England or wherever, my family will always be back here in Arizona, and I will always have the privilege and the opportunity of being able to come back and visit them and come back and see where I've spent so much of my life. It's a little different for me because I don't have like one place that feels like home. Arizona only really feels like home because I've lived here for so long and my parents live here, but I was born in Germany. I've lived in Kansas and Michigan and California and back to Kansas. And I've lived for most of my life now in Phoenix. So if I ever moved away, it would be doubly different for me compared to my ancestors in that A, I have the option to come back and visit easily, and B, this is not a place where I was born and raised. I can't imagine like being born and raised in a small town in Norway and then at the age of 20 or 25 or 30 moving my entire life across an ocean and halfway across a country. Wisconsin's in the Midwest, and starting a new life and just never going back, never seeing the place where you were born again. That's why I really want to go back to Germany, because I want to see the place where I was born. I haven't been there since I was 10. And even though I'm not a citizen of Germany, I still really feel a strong connection. Like, I just feel like you're always going to be connected in some way to the place where you were born, because it's the place where you were born. Anyway, now I'm procrastivlogging. I need to get back to writing. I hope this was a fun chat. It's all just fascinating to me. And so this is like what goes into my books. I try to like make it plot relevant, but like this is the love and the history and the passion that I'm putting into these books. So if any of this has sounded good and you haven't read any of the books in the Independent Heart series, I would give them a try, because this is really what they're all about. Book 1 especially is a love letter to all of my grandmothers and great-grandmothers, because it's just, Yeah. Anyway, I need to get back to writing. We need to finish this book. I'm gonna go grab a snack, but then I'm not getting up from this desk until I finish this book. Okay, this is dreadful lighting, and it is getting quite late. It is 6:21. The sun has set. There's still a tiny bit of light in the sky, like it's not pitch black yet outside, but it's nighttime. I said I wasn't going to get up from this desk again until I finished the book. I have finished the book. Oh, the epilogue is a bit longer than I wanted it to be, but that is a problem for editing Andrea to deal with because the epilogue is 4,000 words long. I typically don't like them being longer than like 2,500. The epilogue should not be like chapter length, and 4,000 words is chapter length. We'll see how it all shakes out with chapters and stuff. But like, I like both scenes. I could make the epilogue a little bit shorter, but I also really like both scenes. Actually, there's 3 scenes in the epilogue, which again, like, that's more like a chapter, not an epilogue. So I could rearrange some stuff and I'll make it work. But it is what it is. So I have written. Let me get my writing tracker out. I was aiming for 1,500 to 2,000 words. I was going to keep the epilogue on the shorter side for the first draft. I did 3,791 words. And we are now finishing the book at 94,876 words. So I am still well under my 100,000 word limit. And we have finished on Saturday, February 8th, instead of Sunday, February 23rd, which was my original date that I thought that was the deadline I've been working towards, thinking that that's when I would finish. So I have finished 2 weeks ahead of the most recent schedule I set. Obviously, I'd wanted to finish this book by the end of last year, and then that didn't happen. I knew that no matter what, I wanted to be done before my birthday at the end of February. And so the 23rd kind of became my, like, you must be done with this draft by this date kind of a date, because I feel like that then gives me all of March and all of April to work on the developmental edits and hopefully be ready to start copy editing and formatting and proofreading and all of that stuff by the time the semester is done. So we will talk about revision plans and revision deadlines and goals and all of that stuff later. Oh my gosh, I'm so tired. I'm so tired. But we made it. Oh, we made it. We made it to the end. We made it to the end of the first draft, which, as every writer knows, is now the beginning of the editing process. I always type the end, though, at the end of the first draft. I think some writers don't write the end until the end of, like, the editing process, like once they're fully done. I can see that, like, being a thing, to just wait to type the end at the end of your novel. Some novels don't even say the end. That just always, like, I like seeing those words. I do. I'm realizing a lot of books, most books I read, don't write the end at the end of their books. Maybe it's old-fashioned, but I like old-fashioned things. So I put the end at the end of all of my books. I think I've also heard that for, like, indie authors and doing Kindle and other ebook reads, specifically I think for Kindle, the Amazon programming for Kindle knows that when it sees the end, it pops up the like rate and review box. And so people might miss, they might not go to the next page, so therefore they might not sign up for your newsletter and all of that stuff. I'm a traditionalist. I want to put the end. If someone literally is not willing to continue to swipe to the next page, like every time that box pops up on my Kindle, I do my little 5-star rating, I close that box, I swipe to the next page to see, is there an author's note? Is there an acknowledgements? Is there something to sign up for their newsletter? Is there a link to find a bonus epilogue or something? I don't do some of those, like I don't do the bonus epilogues. I probably would start getting into that at some point. Like it would be fun for each of the books to go back and like rewrite the ending scene from the main male character's perspective. Like that could be a fun little thing to do. Add that to the list of things I want to do one day, but we'll probably never have time for. So yeah, I write the end, and I write it at the end of the first draft because I just like marking. The first draft is done. It's the end of this process. It's the beginning of the next part of the process. So otherwise I feel like not writing the end after I've just written nearly 95,000 words, to not write the end at this point would just feel a little bit anticlimactic. And I'm not entirely sure about the ending. Like I'm sure about how it ends. I've got words. I'm not sure I like these words, but I've got words on the page and that's what matters. It has an ending. The ending will probably change in terms of like the specific words I use to describe and like portray this ending. But yeah, I'm happy. Oh, I've needed today. I have needed today. I have needed this win. I have needed this cozy time just sitting here in my little office now that the sun has gone down. This lighting is not doing me any favors. Like I have to move you guys and see if this is a little bit better. I don't think it will be. Not really. I've got one lamp and I've got my huge external monitor and it's just glaring off. The glare I think is a little bit better on my glasses here. But yeah, oh my God, I'm so tired. I'm so tired. I need to do some cover sketching. I was gonna try to do some cover sketching today. That's clearly not happening. I'm gonna go get some dinner and crash on the couch and just relax for the rest of the evening. But oh, I think there was a part of my brain that honestly thought this wasn't going to happen. Like, I think I had started to honestly convince myself that I was not going to finish this book. It just started to feel so impossible because my brain just has not been working. I've been so stressed and so anxious, and I just feel like I'm dealing with so much. And like this past week, the past couple weeks, I've been working on it so sporadically. Like, I feel like earlier in January, like I stopped working on it in December 13th. Then January 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 9th, 10th, 12th, 13th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 22, 24, 27, 29, 30, 31. So all of January, I was mostly consistent. I was like skipping a day here and there. But then in February, like I've literally only written, it's the 8th, and I've literally only written 4 days. The 2nd, the 4th, the 6th, and the 8th. And so I didn't write on the 1st, the 3rd, the 5th, or the 7th. So like I could have been done on the 4th if I had, or on the 5th, because the 4th was a Tuesday. But if I had written Saturday the 1st, Sunday the 2nd, Monday the 3rd, taken the 4th off, I could have finished on the 5th. But I knew I was getting close, and I knew that even taking those days off, I would still finish by the 8th. So, but yeah, the last week has just, there's nothing like having one of your major appliances die to just throw you off your routine. But we're done. We're done. with the first draft. There's still a lot of work left to do. Oh, and I'm not going to think about that. I'm not going to think about that. My next big focus is, after I get this sent off to my alpha readers tomorrow, my next big focus is to get the cover illustration done. I am not allowed, I'm saying this on the vlog now, so you can hold me to this. I am not allowed to start developmental editing until the cover illustration is done. But I can't move on to developmental editing until that much of the cover is done. But yeah, oh my gosh, it's done. The first draft is finally done. This has been such a long time coming, considering, where's my writing history? We'll go over my writing history really quick, and then I'm ending this vlog because I feel like this vlog is getting long. I started working on this. I have some stuff, like a file was created in December of 2023, but I didn't start really adding words to it until January 17th, 2024. So it's been just over a year. It's been like a year and 3 weeks or something. So I did a lot of work on it in January of 2024, had 8,293 words by then. I did another 13,434 in February of 2024. I have 106 words written in it in April, negative 71 words in June, 6 words in July 2024. Then we started working on it seriously again in October of 2024, and I had 2,555, and then 29,680 in November, and then 3,795 in December, and then we did 22,205 words in January of this year, and February has topped out at 6,346 words to finish out the first draft. Proof that if you stick with it, don't give up, just keep writing. Even if you take a few months off, even if you take a year off, come back to the project, keep writing. You will finish your book eventually. I've learned this the hard way. The first book I published, not the first book I wrote, but the first book I published, A Brave Start, took me like 7.5 or 8 years to get from the first word of the first chapter to the last word of the epilogue. That book took a while, and I took several breaks that were many months long each time. So just keep working on it. You will finish, I promise. Okay, I'm closing out. I'm not going to close out Scrivener. I have compiled a Word doc and emailed it to myself, so I have it backed up. If Scrivener crashed and I lost everything, I've got that Word doc trapped and stored in my email. But tomorrow I will compile this into an EPUB and send it to my alpha readers. I know they're looking forward to that. One of them has been warned that it is coming. I asked her, like, what are your reading plans for this week? My mom and my other friend don't know that this is incoming, so that will be a surprise for them. So Mom, Cheska, I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, oh, we're done. Okay, and I'm done. I'm done with this vlog. I'm done with today. I want to just go rest and relax. So I hope you've enjoyed this vlog. Thank you for keeping me company and hanging out with me while I finish the first draft of what will be my 9th published novel. So excited. I am so excited. I've needed this so badly. It has been a year already. Like 2025 has been a year. And it's only been a month and a week. But it has felt like a year. So I've needed this win, and this has been a huge win. So everything's being put away. I am getting ready to go crash on the couch. So if you've enjoyed this vlog, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. The editing diaries will be beginning very soon. There will probably be a cover design, and I will talk about my revision plan and give you some details about the book and all of that stuff, the main characters and things like that. So stay tuned for all of that, and subscribe if you're not subscribed. I'd really appreciate that. Say hi in the comments. Leave some Emojis. Leave some writing and book related emojis because we finished the first draft. Oh, I'm so excited. In the comments, you can also let me know, question of the vlog. We were talking about my family history earlier in the vlog. So I'd like to know, what is some of your family history? Where does your family come from? Do you have relatives still back where your family is from? Do you still live where your family has always lived? I'm fascinated by genealogy and history and all of this stuff. So yeah, let's just chat family histories and hometowns and where we're from and all of that stuff. I would really like to know. And yeah, I'm gonna shut up and I'm gonna go relax for the rest of the night. And I will see you all very soon in the next vlog. I have no idea what that vlog is going to be because I'm done with the first draft. So it won't be a writing vlog. So come back to the next vlog to see whatever the heck that ends up being. I will see you all then. Thank you very much for watching today. Bye!